All right, this is the challenge, 90-day challenge. This is a Hollywood star search. We are searching for who's the fittest. Who's the fittest in the hip hop neighborhoods? Who's the fittest? Why is this a fitness challenge connected to the Nipsey Hussle? One Love and Hip Hop Neighborhood Games 2024. Why is there a fitness challenge connected to it? Because Nipsey Hussle is the last person from our neighborhoods that we said that we will allow individuals to inflict trauma and take people from us. No more trauma. So in 2019, from 1994, when The Lion King came out, Nas and Biggie both dropped their albums. Unfortunately, Biggie's very first album said Ready to Die. His very first album, the title of his album was Ready to Die. And ever since, we had our own art form in the inner city neighborhoods. Y'all don't understand how the individuals who had invested in Motown and invested in all of that money over there, they did not create our art form. And for the first time in history, now you have people who gotta die in order to get into the industry. You haven't stopped and said, yo, country music, rock and roll, Ozzy Osbourne and them bit the heads off of bats. So you can't talk about violence. You can't talk about drugs. You can't talk about sex. You can't talk about negative imagery, because Ozzy Osbourne and rock and roll is the most negative ever image ever. And nobody in rock and roll ever dies. Nobody in rock and roll ever is assassinated. Nobody in rock and roll has to go to prison. Every single rap artist has to go to prison before they could become a major. Listen, that is because they did not create our art form. And their record companies and record labels were invested in Motown. And none of those artists own none of their stuff. They all died penniless. They was on the Chitlin circuit. They all died penniless. The record label and the radio stations owned everything. And they had to go perform, trying to eke out a living. And then we create an art form in the 80s and the 90s that they don't control. And now all of a sudden, you got Rap Police Unit. A Rap Police Unit? You have a police unit that was created for rap exclusively. Once again, nobody did more drugs than the hippie era. Nobody did more drugs. So you can't say it's because we do drugs. That was a white people thing. California, Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco, none of those people died. None of them. They let them do all of the heroin they wanted to do, all of the cocaine they wanted to do. They let them congregate and because they owned all of the record labels, so they wasn't getting none of the money. Then Motown comes out, same thing. Diana Ross, all of them, no money. Michael Jackson figured out, because he started so young and he did so well. And because Michael Jackson figured out, and then he bought the Beatles catalog, Michael Jackson had to die. Michael Jackson is the very first of hip hop. Michael Jackson had to die because financially he was outside of the system. And when you support industries with blood on their hands, when you support a nation, kindred, tongue, and people that in 2024 is still economically trying to enslave people so that they can't be free and control their own destiny. And we said, no more trauma. When they assassinated him publicly, when they assassinated Nipsey Hussle publicly, this goes back to Abraham Lincoln, 1863. Abraham Lincoln. They assassinated Abraham Lincoln because they could not control him. He created a separate monetary bill called the Greenback. And because the European powers that be could not control a puppet president that they had set up in Washington, D.C., and when he would no longer go along with the system, boom, Abraham Lincoln did. John F. Kennedy did the same thing. He released a silver coin, They was trying to go to Vietnam. At the same time, John F. Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King like, yo, it's about economics, yo. Y'all trying to give a token gesture to these individuals talking about civil rights, civil rights, civil rights. Y'all never want to allow them economically to be free. And then you want them to go to war because they outnumber you? And when John F. Kennedy shut down a Cuban Missile Crisis and prevented the U.S., who was trying to artificially manufacture war, they killed John F. Kennedy. Then they killed Dr. Martin Luther King after he comes out and says, oh, you got me to help you, Lyndon B. Johnson president, you got me to help you sign a civil rights bill, and now you're not going to economically, just like JFK was saying, you're not going to economically make my people whole. I'm not playing this game. And then once he started speaking against the war in Vietnam, they killed Dr. Martin Luther King. Then when Malcolm X started talking against and stopped going, listen, any of these individuals who cannot be controlled by the group, as long as it doesn't matter what group it is. All of these groups are controlled by the powers that be outside of this nation who want to extract wealth from this nation with puppet figures that they have planted here. And when they don't go along with the masses, they assassinate them. And then you got whole generations of individuals who outnumber the powers that be. And you let them attack the leader, and then all of y'all go back to your common chattel slavery. We said no more trauma. No more trauma. Nipsey Hussle stepped up in the middle of a gang-infested neighborhood. We know it. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to say this directly to E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I'm saying this directly to E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. It's no way that you have the influence that you have. It's no way that you use the name that we gave you. Yes, we gave you Alien Nation, the only hip-hop group coming out of Oakwood. The only hip-hop group with the Madison Mission movement. The only hip-hop group in Huntsville, Alabama. The only hip-hop group on Oakwood's campus. The only hip-hop group working with yo students and acting up. The only hip-hop group that saw the connections between your speeches when you was just concerned black students on a radio station. Not even break the cycle. Going down into Madison Mission, going into Mason Court, the hood. We see you going into the hood where we came from. And we said, we gonna go with you. And in them GED programs that we assisted with in Mason Court projects, we said, yo, he the hip hop preacher. We said that. Then we said we want the hip hop preacher to come and coronate us because we the Lion Kings of hip hop. We share the same Holy Spirit in the hood. But we have never left the hood. We have never ever left the hood. We said the waging war is to rescue those of us in the highways and the byways. That's why we met you in the hood. That's why every hood you ever went to, Milwaukee public school system, every hood you ever showed up to, Chicago, Illinois, every hood you ever showed up to, Omaha, Nebraska, hood, 2003. LA, the ultimate hood, 2004, 2005, 2006, Crenshaw High School, Nipsey Hussle in the 10th grade, E.T. the hip hop preacher, Nipsey Hussle is who we created Alien Nation for. Nipsey Hussle is who we created Alien Nation for. We didn't create Alien Nation for Oakwood students. We didn't create Alien Nation for Pine Forge Academy and Seventh-day Adventists. Because the words say, to whom much is given, much is required. We created Alien Nation to let Oakwood University and Seventh-day Adventists and Pine Forge Academy know that the book of Ezekiel says, when you have a higher vantage point and you are not the one who is the watchman saving the lives, the blood is on your head. When my people die in the gutter, the blood is on your head. Huh? E.T. the hip hop preacher. E.T. the hip hop preacher. I put it in blood, yo. I put it in blood. I let all of y'all know that the word of God say, you don't get to try and go and get higher education and climb up out of the slums and leave our people behind. You don't get to try and go to better schools. You don't get to try and use degrees in education to give you and yours a better, listen, when he said feed the fires, he said, if you love me, feed mine. And when he gave them the ability, yo, they couldn't put nothing in their mouth until all of the masses had E.T. the hip hop preacher. The Son of God said, I'll come and I'll die for one. We didn't do what we did for Oakwood. We were searching for Nipsey Hussle. The completion of what Nas started in hip hop in '94, The Lion King. We was looking for You got to have two witnesses. You got to have an Old Testament and a New Testament. You got to have a Genesis and a Revelation, or it's incomplete. And we go to Crenshaw High School. Shout out to my main man, Roy. Broke my heart when his mama passed away. Shout out to my main man, Roy. Listen. We went into Crenshaw and them babies begged us for the solution, and we created it. We went into Crenshaw High School, and they said, this the third time we done seen y'all. We get it. We inspired. Where is the blueprint and the plan? Where's the life preserver? Y'all from Pond Forge Academy, where's the abundant life? Phase 1, creative arts, going all around listen, E.T. the hip-hop preacher, the baby said, where is the blueprint? Where's the business plan? Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plan that I have for you, a plan to prosper you, give you hope in a future. E.T. the hip-hop preacher, the baby said, where's the business plan? I don't want inspiration. I want a business plan. You said you got out of the gutter and you were a multimillionaire. Where is the business plan, E.T.? And if you ain't have it, you should have got at us. If y'all didn't have it, I told myself I will not come back to Crenshaw High School and have another one of them babies ask me for the blueprint and I not have it. And Roy's mama died. We no longer do the conference again. And I could have did nothing. I could have been like, yo, I'll never see them kids again. Me and mine, we came over here to Orlando, Florida. That was 2006. 2007, 2008, 2009, I give you a call. Just three years, homie. 2009, I give you a call. I called Pond Forge Academy too. I called Joel Johnson running around the country talking about abundant life. To whom much is given, much is required. Joel Johnson in creative arts running around the country talking about abundant life. Well, the babies asked for a blueprint of how to get it. Pond Forge steadily raising tuition, putting it out of reach. Oakwood steadily raising tuition, putting it out of reach. You talking about abundant life and you going there and getting discounts for your babies to go to Pond Forge Academy, but you're putting it out of reach for the highways and the byways? What about Mason Court, E.T.? What about Crenshaw, E.T.? And I'm not even asking y'all to give them the blueprint. We got the blueprint. We're not even asking y'all to put the plan in place. But to whom much is given, if you got all of that influence, if you in every school, we challenge you right now. We got a Nipsey Hussle neighborhood game. We got Nipsey Hussle neighborhood game. How do we build the blueprint? I'm standing on holy ground, homie. I'm standing on a place where I created the blueprint at. I dropped down in here and I became a coach. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing all my life. Because that's what my mama do. That's what my grandmother does. She got a brother named Robert Poppy Wilson. Y'all want a blueprint? I was born into the blueprint. John O. Wilson Recreational Center. Look it up. Trenton, New Jersey. John O. Wilson. That's my great-grandpops. Got a street with his name on it. More importantly, got the Youth Athletic League, got the church, got the recreational center, got the school in his name, the whole neighborhood. My grandmother's father and mother, my grandmother's brothers, my grandmother, all her siblings ran the church, ran the whole neighborhood, homie. Y'all want a blueprint? Wasn't no gang banging in New Jersey. None. Till the 2000s. And that came with the Latin Kings from Chicago and the Bloods from Chicago. But let's go. Home, let's go. Let's go. There wasn't no gang banging in Trenton. No gang banging in New Jersey. Nowhere up and down New Jersey. All the way up to the 2000s. Huh? Y'all cities was destroyed in Detroit. Y'all cities was destroyed in Chicago. Y'all cities was destroyed in Little Rock. Y'all cities was destroyed all over the country. LA, everywhere. It wasn't no gang banging in. What? Huh? The home of hip hop. The home of hip hop. It wasn't no gang banging until the 2000s. Until individuals who came from Chicago and all that came to visit their family, did bids in Rikers Island, got out of Rikers Island and dropped down in Newark, dropped down in Brooklyn, dropped down in the Bronx, dropped down, and now all of a sudden you got Latin Kings, you got Bloods, you got all of that. Huh? 2000s? All this trauma going on, and y'all looking for an answer, and we got it. Ain't no all men are created equal. The queens in the lionesses in our neighborhood, in our family, and ain't no equality. And my mama brought queens from your lioness pride. Tony Fulford. Tony Fulford lived under the same roof with me in Trenton, New Jersey for a whole year, homie. Why you think the spirits lined us up? Tony and Derek Fulford, homie. Anthony Lewis and Ejanae Lewis. Listen, man. Listen. There ain't no queen in Adventism that has had the reach that my mama has had. You go drop my mama's name to the Willises. You go drop my mama name, homie. That wasn't nothing new. When we came and linked up with y'all in Huntsville, that wasn't new. That was my fourth tour of duty, homie. Me and my older sister, y'all all talk about Kagia and Phase 1. Listen, man, that was me and my sister's fourth tour of duty, bro. E.E. Cleveland and Milan Sound and all of them. Listen. We the little babies running around Oakwood that they still talk about. Me and my sister, homie. With Malcolm Taylor. As kids. It's our fourth tour of duty. So if y'all want a blueprint, if y'all really real, if y'all really serious, we saying no more trauma in 90 days. You got a running joint. My son Xavier, he on the victory lap. My son Xavier just graduated from Oakwood. Class of 2022. We on the victory lap tour. Nipsey Hussle said, yo, if something happened to me, why did Nipsey Hussle have to say that? He dropped the album called Loaded Bases. I'm on a baseball diamond. Nipsey Hussle dropped the album called Loaded Bases. And we had a couples ministry in Huntsville. Oprah Winfrey tried to create a television show. So in this Nipsey Hussle's neighborhood game, that couple's ministry that I joined with you in Huntsville, that was an extension of what the Fulfords and my mom and my dad did with Derek Green and his mom and his father at Andrews. That wasn't my first time. Listen, the reason we joined that group is because that's what we always do. That was new to y'all. Every Friday night, Derek Green and his father and his mother and his brothers and sisters, me and Tony and Derek Fulford and all of their kids, and me and my kids, Greg Jackson, Pastor Greg Jackson and Cordella Jackson, who lost their son, Greg Jackson. They killed Greg Jackson Jr. dead in Huntsville. They assassinated my brother dead in Huntsville, homie. Greg Jackson Jr., they assassinated him, dumped his body in between Alabama and Tennessee. We not playing out here, man. Y'all playing. Listen, man, it's on our fourth and fifth tour of duty, homie. They call me RPG in Alien Nation. You know it. Top Gun. Top Gun. My grandfather is in a long line of individuals. He went into the Marines. His brother-in-law went into the Air Force. He got brothers that went into the Army. He went into the Marines to make sure that his brothers-in-laws came home. He ain't go into the Marines. He ain't go into the cert. Listen, I'm talking about Top Gun, homie. They call me RPG. My generation elected me as the Sergeant of Arms. I got receipts, Pine Forge Academy, Sergeant at Arms, homie. You got a coaching joint called the Top Flight Assessment. There's nobody on earth that has used pro recreation to save lives more than my family has. I got it from my mama. And my mama told me I better not lose one. My mama told me I better not lose not one of your babies. My mama told me in 1991 we did a tent effort in Plainfield, New Jersey with DeJuan Starling. I got receipts, homie. Ain't nobody did more evangelism than me and my sister. Nobody. Nobody. I got receipts. And every time one of these new kings and queens came into our life, DeJuan Starling and his cousin Tiffany Palmer. DeJuan came to Plainfield, New Jersey, lived with us, and he was the worship leader at my dad's tent effort. And my mom said, you better not never lose not one of his babies. No, my mom held me accountable to the Sergeant at Arms, to being the watchman on the wall. While everybody else talk about abundant life, my mom held me accountable. She like, our family done got free. You better not lose not one of mine. Stephen Richardson and his wife Margie Richardson, they twins, you better not lose not one. Wintley Phipps Jr., and then he got a grandbaby, Wintley Phipps III, you better not lose not one. Top Flight. I got a potential future son-in-law that's trying to decide whether or not he's gonna go into the Air Force or not. My grandfather already settled this issue. My grandfather took me over to Revelation 12 And I'm going to take you to Revelation 12. My grandfather took me over to Revelations 12, and it said Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, Satan, and his angels, and he cast them out. I was looking at a picture up on the wall with my grandfather and his Marines with his... He like, boy, boy, I did that to serve my sisters, to make sure that my brothers-in-laws came home. He said, every round goes higher and higher. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob. He said, the heritage of Jacob is Michael and his angels. In my father's house. And in Revelation, further down in Revelation, the angel shows John the armaments of God. The armaments of Michael and his angels. How we letting our babies enlist. We have not learned the lessons of Dr. Martin Luther King. We have not learned the lessons of John F. Kennedy. When my grandfather walked away from the Seventh-day Adventist Church when my dad was in the 5th grade. There's a book called Creeping Compromise. My grandfather, the same grandfather that told me, you won't listen. My grandfather said, listen, when you see compromise, when you see them lowering the bar, when Saul lowered the bar, Samuel was told to go take the Holy Spirit and the kingdom from him. Just because you claim to be the child of Abraham, because you claim to be the remnant. Listen, he said, by their fruits, and you got to test the fruits of the Spirit every day. And the moment that they lower the bar spiritually, God say, take the kingdom from them. Abundant life? Are people still wallowing in the same muck and mire that they assassinated John F. Kennedy, assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King, assassinated trauma, and y'all still trying to do it the Democratic way? Come on, man. It's the last days of Noah, Matthew 24. It's the last days of Noah, Revelation 13. Revelation 14, come out about Babylon is fallen, that great nation. Are y'all serious? Y'all Seventh-day Adventists, huh? And our people ain't prepared? Come on, yo. So listen, we're not even asking y'all to prepare. We signed up for this. Stillborn the Revelator, Hotep. Listen, all we saying is, all y'all need to do is use that influence that we let y'all rack up. We let y'all rack that influence up. Now, just like we served, all we saying is, we got receipts. We got receipts. And so when we put our events on the thing, listen, man, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. October the 16th through the 24th, we're doing the Nipsey Hussle Neighborhood Games. That mockery over there in Paris. We are pro-creation, pro-recreation. We are pro-football, pro-basketball, pro-track and field, Listen, man. Don't nobody represent the USA but the neighborhoods. So all that influence, we let all of y'all rack up. And we got all our babies out here that we done went and stood in front of them and inspired them and told them to break cycles and all that. And now all they saying is, give us the blueprint. We saying, bring all that influence over here. That listen, we're not asking you for nothing for free. We're going to quadruple. We're going to quadruple whatever you asking for the top flight assessment. We're going to do what we do just to prove that LeBron James and these clowns is just that, clowns. Any of the cats that you done ran with in the NBA, any of the cats, we gonna do what we do. We done sat back for 30 years. Next year, 2025 is the 30th anniversary of when we dropped Raging War. We coming out of halftime. This was the rope-a-dope. So, all of y'all platforms, we're not telling y'all to change nothing. All we saying is, we got a 90-day game plan. We're going to put all of our people in our leagues, everybody who's going to be participating in the game, they got to go through the top flight. I'm calling it the Top Gun top flight assessment. They got to take the assessment first. I'm not dealing with nobody. Can't nobody get on the track team. Can't nobody play on the basketball team. Can't nobody cheerlead. Can't nobody play in football, volleyball. They can't participate in none of the games at all unless they take the top flight assessment and pay top dollar. And my peoples in the highways and the byways, they ain't paying for nothing. It's all of our people in these Adventist churches who ain't never lifted a finger to aid none of our people. All of these, listen, y'all gonna sponsor. We gonna go out into the highways and the byways, and we just gonna pluck our people out of prison. We're gonna pluck our people out of Detroit, pluck our people out of the gutters of Chicago. We're gonna go back to Crenshaw. We're gonna go back to Jordan Dan Watts. We're gonna go back to every block that Nipsey Hussle ever went on, and we're gonna get every single person that Nipsey Hussle was trying to bless. We're going to bless them with a Top Gun, top flight assessment. We're going to let them compete to see who's the fittest in their neighborhood. And then we're going to crown the winner. And then we're going to give them a 10-year, $20 million covenant. A 10-year. Listen, our goal is to put 32 million below the poverty line in our neighborhoods into the, listen, from October this year to October next year, 32 million. 32 million in the highways and the byways. 32 million who still being abused with gang banging. 32 million who still in the midst of the gang war and the drug war that we went out to Crenshaw to solve. The baby said, where's the blueprint, E.T.? And we got it. We got a 10-year business plan for each and every one of them. We got companies and businesses. My main man, Don Howard, listen, man, we give people businesses all day, every day. We're starting a compassion project right now. It's the same project that my mama and my grandmama, both of my grandmothers and my mother, when my grandpops and all of them created the community center, my mother ran the day-to-day operations of the community center. When she was a young shorty, before she came to Oakwood. My mother ran the day-to-day operations of the camp and all of that. The coaching, and she made sure that all of the counselors was in place. She made sure that there was enough coaches for every team. She made sure everything. My mom ran the day-to-day operations. And while the whole drug epidemic, while the crack epidemic destroyed, while the whole East Coast was swallowed up, DC, all of them swallowed up. You know how many lives they saved with recreation? Recreation. I got an uncle by the name of Butch Hackett. The greatest running back. The greatest running back. And our neighborhood, I'm talking about side by side, above O.J. Simpson, above your man who played for the Jim Brown, for the Cleveland Browns, above catastrophic knee injury. Y'all never have addressed how many of our people, because the NFL doesn't secure, they don't give no guaranteed contracts, they don't give no guaranteed insurance. Y'all have never ever addressed how the lack of ownership and the lack of financial investment, capitalization, and financial business principles being taught. Every person in all of my mother's brothers and sisters, When my great-great-grandfather created that infrastructure, they all created their businesses to infuse and inject wealth into our community. So while everybody else was gang banging and all that, we didn't have to gang bang in Trenton, New Jersey. And Detroit ain't the only place that was manufacturing. We were a manufacturing hub of Cadillacs and GMs and all, just like Detroit. Chrysler and Cadillac and GM had factories in Trenton and in Wilmington, Delaware. And all of our peoples worked in them. Then started their own businesses. Y'all want a blueprint? We got the blueprint. We done served alienation. We done told the world that this day was coming. And that's the last thing I'm gonna say to you, E. 1991, y'all came to Pine Forge Academy and y'all did a skit on the Great Controversy. But in the streets, in the hood, there was a book that was dropped called Behold the Pale Horse in 1991 at the same time. Same time y'all going around doing Bell Tower Ministry is going only to Adventism. And the whole world is searching. And the miseducation of Lauryn Hill was the misinformation that was put in Behold the Pale Horse. And y'all had the Great Controversy, but y'all was going to Adventists only. You had Nas, Old Dirty Bastard, Prodigy, all of the kings of hip hop was searching in 1991 while y'all had Bell Tower Ministry and y'all going exclusively to Adventist schools and churches, while our people in the highways and the byways is looking for the word that y'all got, because y'all got access to information that the world don't have. That's why we created alienation. Because y'all was coming to us, and our people in the street was dying and being deceived by individuals who was then taking the information that they was looking over there at Adventists, keeping the information exclusively to Adventism, and then they come and write a misinformation book called Behold the Pale Horse. It's one of the most widely read in hip-hop books ever. It dropped in 1991, the same time y'all came to Pine Forge Academy doing Great Controversy. And our people in the hood is still looking for that word. Still, to this day, Nas is still looking for the word. And you had Adventists, Seventh-day Adventists, Busta Rhymes, Seventh-day Adventists from the Northeastern Conference, Busta Rhymes. But because them cats was dibbling and dabbling and serving two masters and going back and forth with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, Q-Tip from a tribe called Quest, Seventh-day Adventist, Northeastern Conference, coming down to Oakwood all day, every day. He produces a track on Nas's Illmatic joint. 1991, Nas come out with an album, Live at the Barbecue. Q-Tip is mesmerized by Nas lyrics. Homie, the man is seeking and searching for the information that you Seventh-day Adventists got about prophecy in the last days. And because Bell Tower Ministry is only going to Seventh-day Adventists, and then you got Seventh-day Adventists that's coming down to Oakwood all the time, Q-Tip down at Alumni Weekend every weekend, Busta Rhymes and all of them, and y'all all starstruck, and our peoples, Nas and everybody, Rakim, all of these dudes is looking for the knowledge in Daniel and Revelation that y'all got. And Q-Tip is sitting in the studio with Nas. Nas is reading Behold the Pale Horse, getting misinformation. And then Bell Tower Ministry got the knowledge, but ain't going to the streets. It's okay, bro. That's why we created Alien Nation. And it's halftime right now. It's all good. We right where we want them to be. So, all I'm saying is, I done handed the baton. We done broke Alien Nation down into my 5 babies. Xavier just graduated Oakwood alumni, and Pine Forge alumni. All my kids, Oakwood and Pine Forge alumni. Not, okay. My oldest daughter, she did not go to Oakwood. She not messing with Oakwood. But she went to CUC, Washington Adventist University. All my kids, because we the bedrock. We stick to the script. And my mama told us, specifically, Jalen, Lee Lamb Jr., every last one of the babies that was born in Huntsville, Alabama. Listen, my mom called them out by name. My mama died in 2010, homie. My mother died in 2010, bro. My grandma just died 3 years ago. They called y'all kids by every time we had a baby and y'all had a baby too. Because it's something about sharpening. See, we could not have the family that we had without being sharpened by D. Green, without being sharpened by E.T. and Dee Dee, without being sharpened by Mason and Shamika West, without being sharpened by Shannon Austin. Listen, my mama was saying, you owe a debt, boy, because they sharpened you to do exactly what I commanded you to do. And so, in gratitude, you better not lose one. In this battle, in this war, in this waging war, you better not lose one baby, because the children are the kingdom. The children are the kingdom. You better not lose not one of the babies that was ever born in Huntsville while you was down there getting sharpened. Not Wintley Phipps's grandbabies. Not the Richardsons, not Kurt Tammy Thompson, not near one of the individuals that sharpened us. Listen, Anthony and Edrene Lewis. So we created a foundation and an endowment fund. That's what I'm telling you. This Nipsey Hussle Neighborhood Games is a foundation and a building fund to rebuild Oakwood, Pine Forge, and give a School of the Arts and a Performing Arts, the Hip Hop School of the Arts and Performing Arts, that I split among my 5 children. My younger brother got a son, and he's included it with my 4. And we're gonna do a victory lap. And Xavier's up first. So this is top flight assessment. Xavier and Deja, 97 and 99, they was born. So all of the babies born in 97 and 99, they get their birthright this year. 97, 99. We got a business plan where by the time they 30, they all gonna be multimillionaires. Abundant life. The same business plan that we created to give to Nipsey Hussle's people at Crenshaw, we give into the world. So anybody that has ever consumed E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, any student across the country and across the globe that has ever, we got a 5 and a 10-year business plan that we intended to give to Crenshaw High School and Nipsey Hussle that we give into the world. And what you got to do to get it, you got to go through the Dr. J Life and the E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher Top Gun, Top Flight assessment to get Have Life coaching. That's what we do. Have Life coaching. We got receipts. I got a nephew that was 13 years old that was head and shoulder. He was on his way to the league too. after his grandpops, Butch Hackett. His name is Sean Hackett. Traumatic brain injury in Miami 2 years ago. No more trauma. We got to listen. Not near one more drop of blood, E.T. We are have lifesavers. Abundant life. We give abundant life. We've taken out abundant life insurance policies on all of these babies. If you are in poverty, we don't care nothing about no middle income, upper income. We don't care nothing about none of that. If you've been to prison, if your daddy in prison, if your mama in prison, if you've been on drugs, if you own drugs, if your grandma own drugs, your mama own drugs, listen, transformation. We here to transform the gutter. That's all we concerned about, is the gutter. The gutter. We got full scholarships, 5-year, 10-year, listen. And you got to compete. You got to play to get paid. Loaded bases. Loaded bases is what we say when we getting at our ladies. Get to first base. Nipsey Hussle said, I ain't nothing like these Yo MTV rap Negroes. Y'all had a Negro League. Nipsey Hussle said, I ain't nothing like these Yo MTV rap Negro League baseball players. And we ain't nothing like them either. There is no comparison. There is no similarities between hip hop and rap. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. We are judging. There's a book of Judges. And in the book of Judges, you got Samson. In the book of Judges, most importantly, you got a seer named Deborah. That's who our queens are. And so next year in 2025, we're going to shoot 360 different movies. A movie a day. So we're using the neighborhood games to find the Holywood stars. You got to be a quadruple asset to play. You got to be able to be the best in your neighborhood at multiple sports. Then you got to be able to cleanse your sanctuary image so you could be a Hollywood star and get your shine back. And then you could go through that same coronation, the crowning that we went through with Alien Nation. We got an award ceremony at the end of each 90 days where we cleanse, coronate. That means crown. So you got to be an asset in 4 different